In this video, I'm doing a commentary on a match between Neil Kazaros and Greg Miller at the BMAB tournament in Michigan, 2023. 7-point match. Neil is at the bottom playing the white checkers, and Greg is at the top playing the black checkers. It's a 7-point match. They get 2 minutes per point, so they should be setting the clock for 14 minutes. I believe the delay time is about 10 seconds or so. Michigan tournament is one of the biggest and most popular tournaments. Neil needs no introduction, one of the best players in the world. I'm not familiar with Greg, but I'm sure he's an outstanding player as well. Neil plays 4-1, hitting twice. And now Greg comes in with both checkers 4-2. And now Neil rolls a 5-1. He's going to cover and split his back checkers. When you do slot the ace point, one of the things you like to do is make it so that you have at least a 2-point board. Now Greg rolls a 6-4, probably point on head, making his 2-point, putting a checker on the bar for Neil. Now Neil is rolling from the bar, and he rolls a 6-5, will probably come out to his 14-point. He's thinking about it, counting all the numbers. This video was recorded by Dmitry Obukov. Thank you very much for doing that. He's doing a fantastic job. You should visit his YouTube channel. He has a lot of great videos, and he does a lot of work with the BMAB, the Backgammon Masters awarding body. All right, so Neil does come out. And now double 2 for Greg. That's a great roll. He hits, he'll make his 4-point, and with the last 2, he's looking at anchoring. 8-6 is another possibility, or making the 11-point. Okay, that's what he does. Now, Neil's roll is cocked. He's going to roll again. Greg has a 3-point board, but Neil comes in with a double 5. Great roll. So he comes in with the first one that's forced, and he's going to unstack his midpoint and make his 3-point. Now the board strengths are equal. 3-point board for each player. 2-1 for Greg. Not very productive, but he's able to hit 8-5, takes away half of Neil's roll. Neil does come in with a 5-3. He's going to come in with a 5, and the only other 3 it looks like he has that's reasonable is 13-10. That's what he does. Now Greg's on the bar. He dances with a double 1. Neil quickly gives a double. This might be a small double, if anything. Both players have a 3-point board, and white has the initiative. He can hit with even numbers to point on head, and he doesn't get it. He gets a 6-3, so he'll probably hit 10-4 and look for the best 3, which is what he's doing, 13-4. Now Greg's on the bar against the 3-point board, shooting at a 4. And he does roll a 4 with a 2, comes in with both checkers, hitting one of Neil's. Now, Greg is happy he owns the cube. But Neil comes in with a 5-3, anchors on the 5, and makes his 10-point, does leave a blot on his midpoint. And Greg rolls a 3-2. What can he do? Not a lot of good options. Maybe just moving up both of his back checkers. And that's what he does. Now Neil rolls a 6-1 from the bar. Actually, not from the bar. He rolls a 6-1, and is he going to play 13-7 and hit, or just safety it to the 6th? That seems that seems like a reasonable choice. No need to hit there. 3-2 again. Now, what is he looking at? Anchoring up on his 18 points. The other option would have been to play 13-8, but this is what he chooses. Now Neil has even numbers to hit, doesn't get it. He doesn't have a really good 6, so maybe just pick and pass. That's what he does. Puts a checker on the bar, disconnects it from the other checkers on his 18 point. And now Greg comes in with a 4-2. So doesn't really have any good 4s. So maybe he just comes in with the 4 and then plays 13-11 with the 2. Neil still has even numbers to hit, as well as 8s. A 5-3 will hit. Double 6 will hit from the back, or other combinations of 2s, 4s, and 6s. He rolls a double 6. That's a great roll. So he'll certainly hit from 24 to 12. And now, is he going to make his 2 point or hit loose? I don't know about hitting loose, because then you don't really have another good one. It would have to probably be 12-6. Those checkers in the back are stuck on his 20 point. It does create that dilly builder on the 3 point, which serves no purpose, but that's what you do when life hands you lemons, you make lemonade. He does have a 4-point board. And Greg dances. So now Neil's looking to make another point on his board. He does not. He hits, leaves that checker there, plays 12-11, another checker bearing on his 5 point. That'll allow him to make it with a 6-5. 5-1. He comes in with the 5. And now, if Neil can do something, he might have good gammon chances. 6-4. So he's not going to hit. He's just going to cover and come out with the 4. Now he has a 5-point board. Greg can hit with a 6-5, 5-4, or 5-2. And he dances with a 6-3. Now Neil has 6s and 1s to hit. And he rolls a 5-4. So is he just going to come 20-16 and continuing to the 11 point? Greg needs a 5 to come in and anchor. He dances with a 6-3. Now Neil again has 6s and 1s, double 3s, and double 6s work as well, but he gets a 5-1. He hits with the 1 and plays 11-6, giving him an extra covering number, so he would be able to cover with 6s and 1s. If Greg should dance, he has 2 on the bar, really needs a 5 right now, doesn't get it, 2-1. Now Neil, if he can cover, he does. Double 1, so he covers with the 1. And now with these, what you want to do is make sure you don't have any bad doubles that'll force you to crack. All right. So now double 2s are okay. Now he rolls a 3-2. And if he comes in with a 3, or he's going to come down, looking at his bad double 3s, but it's not too bad. 3-2. So he's going to play the 2 there and the 3 in. Now his double 1s would be bad, but he has plenty to play with. Double 3. So he comes in and he's going to play 5-2, 6 off. He has very good gammon chances with 2 on the bar and all those checkers left in the outfield for black. 4-3, he safely clears the 6 point. And now Greg needs a 6 to come in. He does roll one of them. Neil rolls a double 5. That's a great roll. Bears off 4 checkers and stays even on his 2 highest points, so he's going to be safe. Greg comes in with a 5-1. Comes into the 19. I think I would have crossed over. Don't know how much of a difference it would make. 6-3. Neil takes 2 checkers off. 6-5 brings 2 checkers out. Looks like it's going to be really hard for Greg to save the gammon. Neil is looking to take a commanding 4-0 lead in a match. That's a good lead in a 7-point match. Now he's wasting pips by playing into his board, but I don't think it matters. 4-2 looks like gin. So now it's 4-0. Neil needs 3 points to win the match. So that means he's 3 away, and Greg is 7 away. It's always more important to know the away score than the absolute score. So here it's 3 away, 7 away. This is a Wycliffe Brothers board available on Gammon Village, and these are the weighted checkers. I really like these ones. They actually feel good. They have some weight to them, and they provide a nice contrast for viewing on the stream. And the Wycliffe Brothers boards are really good value. They are playing dice on checkers, so Greg rolls a 4-1. Looks like dice on checkers is going to be one of the new rules, the proposed USBGF tournament rules. Now Greg rolls a 3-2 from the bar, comes in, and he's going to anchor. And 5-2. Four one nicely makes his 5-point, efficiently using that checker on his 9-point and unstacking his 6-point. And 6-5, he's going to come to the 11-point, giving himself another builder and keeping his goalkeeper back for good board coverage. And double 5 for Greg, good roll. He can point on head and make a 4th interboard point with 8-3 twice. Neil's rolling from the bar. He needs 4s and 2s to come in, and he dances. Now, the score is probably too good. He's going to roll on. 4-1. He's going to come down and just make the 8-point. Neil really wants to come in here, but he dances with the double 6. Now, I think he's too good. He's too good at this score. 4-point board. He has 8s to hit. 5-3 doesn't hit, but double 4 would have been a great number. Neil quickly passes. So now it's 4-1, 3 away, 6 away. Two 2-1 for Neil. He slots. A lot of people split, but usually the best play, at least for money, is to slot. Now 5-4. Best play for money is to hit and come down. He does come out. Looks like he didn't want to give him good 6s from the bar. Didn't, but Neil rolls a 5-1 to come in and hit. Now Neil has 3 checkers back to Greg's 2 checkers back. Greg rolls a 4-2. Not a very productive roll. Might just want to bring 2 checkers up like that. Now Neil rolls a good 6-2. He gets the point on head using that spare checker on his 10-point, that builder. Now he has a 2-point board. Greg comes in with a 5-3. He's going to anchor on the 3 and unstack his heavy midpoint with 13-8. Neil rolls a 5-1. You don't want to split those back checkers. Just bring one down. Now Greg wants to do something about his stacks here. And he can with the 4-2. Makes his 4-point. Double 5. Looks like a good roll. He can safety that one for sure. And then just come down 7s away from the anchor. So relatively safe. 6-3. So he can play 13-4, or he can escape from what's called the butterfly anchor. The anchor on the 22 point is called Butterfly Anchor by Michihito Kageyama in his book. And it can escape with 6-3, 5-4, double 6, double 4, or 6-5. And he chooses to escape with the 6-3. Now Neil rolls a 2-1. Nothing productive other than covering his 10 point. And now with the 5-2. I think he'll want to unstack his midpoint with the 5 at least. And the 2, he can either play 6-4 or it's probably looking at 13-11. Either is reasonable. You don't love having a spare on the 4, but don't want to give him a good 6-4 for no reason. 5-2, he has that extra checker on his 8 point. Probably want to hit with 8-3. And that's what he does and brings 13-11 down. He has a nice distribution of his spares. Now Greg comes in with a 4-3, hits with the 3, and then with the 4, he's going to come down 13-9. Now he has 11 checkers in the zone. Neil rolls a 6-5, in and out to the 14 point. Now Greg wants a 2 or an 8, but 5-3 doesn't work. Only double 4 also works. Yeah, it was a pretty loose double, but Neil took right away. 4-3 makes his 5 point. If you don't think it's a double, then it should be an easy take. Now double 5. He's going to make his 5 point and point on head. Commanding position for Neil now with a 4-point board. 3-1 for black. Greg comes in with the 1, and he's going to find a 3. It'll probably be either 8-5 or 13-10. And he chooses 13-10. Neil rolls a 6-2. So you're going to do 14-8, and then maybe 11-9. Don't think you want to move that back checker up. Puts it back in the wrong place and plays 24-16. So the checker on the 13 should be on the 14 point, but nobody noticed it. So they just play on and put it as an illegal move. Greg rolls a 3-1 and hits that checker. 6-1. Comes in with the 1 and probably 11-5. No reason to come out. In the BMAB, they check your PR, so they record it and transcribe it. Oh, he looks like he's trying to close him out if he misses, but I'm not sure that he really needed to do that. So you're playing for PR and you're playing for the win. The best PR wins usually a prize in the side pool, and it goes to your BMAB rankings. That's the Backgammon Masters awarding body. So 5-2, probably 10-5 to put another spare there, and then 13-11. That's what he does. He has a nice distribution of spares. Now Neil can cover with a 6-4-1. With a 6-4, he can actually go all the way and hit. Now Greg has a few numbers to come in from the bar and hit. If he doesn't hit, but he rolls a double 1, not bad. So he anchors, and now Neil's not going to want to redouble. He's going to want to just play on, possibly win a gammon. That's a great roll, double 3. He makes his prime, and then the fourth one doesn't really matter. 14-11, 13-10, 4-1. He can make his next point of the board. That's what he does. Now Neil's on cruise control. 6-3. I think he'll want his spare on his 5 point. When you're bearing in, you like to have the spares on the high inner board points. That gives you the maximum flexibility. So we play this 3 down. The 6 is probably better to the 5 point than the 4 point. Just gives you a little bit more flexibility when you're bearing in against an anchor. Here it's a 2-point anchor. 6-5. So is he going to slot 2 points, or at least slot the 2 point and then come in with 9-4? He's trying to keep his spares on his higher points too. Double 1 for Neil. Sometimes you try to pre-clear these, but here you don't need anything fancy. He just comes in 10-6. Keeps his full prime. Very strong asset. 6-2 for Greg. He makes his 2 point. Now he has the best 5 point board, and with the 2, either 4-2 or 5-3. He chooses 4-2. And now 6-4. The 6 is forced, so he's going to clear his bar points. Now he's going to have a bad 6-1. Next, 3-1. He doesn't slot his 8 point just in case Neil rolls a 6-1. He doesn't. He rolls a 6-2. That's safe. He plays 6-4, spreading out his spares. So if Greg comes out with a 5, he has a lot of builders pointed on it. And now that he sees that, he may not want to come out for fear of the gammons. He just makes his 8 point, but he breaks his 6 point. And Neil rolls a 4-2 to clear his 8 points safely. Greg has a 6-3. He's forced to come out. And now Neil may consider doubling. 565. He's down 14 pips. Greg is down 14 pips. Neil is thinking whether he has a chance to go for the gammon. If he redoubles here, Greg cannot take, so he'll go to 6-1, 1 away, 6 away Crawford. For a pretty strong lead, but he does have all these builders. Maybe he can roll a pick and pass number to hit and make his ace point, like a 2-1 or a 4-1 or even double 2, something like that. Double 4 would be nice. He does not. He rolls a 4-3, bears one off with a 4, bears another one off with a 3. Now he might look to double on his next roll. 5-4. I believe Neil is up 17 pips. 8, 70, 12 pips. Yeah, 70-58. Greg's thinking about it. For money, it's a big pass, but given the score, he would redouble to 8 for the match. Otherwise, if he passes, he's down 6-1. So he's going to need to win at least 3 games. So now Neil has a commanding lead, 1 away, 6 away at the Crawford game. At the Crawford game, that's when one player gets to 1 point away from winning the match. In this case, it's a 7-point match, so that's 6 points. There's no doubling allowed for 1 game. Greg rolls a 6-3, splits, double 4 for Neil. That's one of the greatest rules early in the game. You can make those 2 strong points. 20-point anchor, 9 point. Now with a 5-1, I think he's got an anchor on his 18. 5-1. He hits and continues. Trying to just win in the race, sending a third checker back, 6-2. Not a good roll. He does come in with the 2, that's forced, and he has 2 options with the 6, 13-7 or 8-2. 8-2 puts a checker really deep and does not and strips the 8 point. 13-7 puts it where he kind of wants it, but does volunteer a shot with a direct 2. Neil rolls a double 2, so if he can hit and make his 4 point, and maybe just continue. He's looking for the Crawford game on the scorecard, and that's what he finds. So now it's 6-1 Crawford. Hits and continues. I think he's considering making his 14, but that nicely unstacks his 6 point and makes a second board point. So double 3. He comes in with the first one, probably make his 5 point and unstack the 6 point with 6-3. When you have 5 checkers on that 6 point, you really want to unstack it. So that's the first 3, and he has 1 left. And he advances it. I don't know that you want to do that. I wouldn't have done that. I would have done 6-3. Just leaving himself open to attack. I understand he has his 18-point anchor, but kind of wants to stay back and keep contact. Now with the 6-5, Neil doesn't have anything great. He could play 16-5, or he's looking at making the 3 point on the head. He does. Now he has a 3-2 board advantage. 6-1 comes in with the 1. What's he going to want to do? So in these situations, when you're at the Crawford game, gammon losses don't matter. So you might want to just stay back and maintain contact. Neil is up well in the race. He doesn't do that. So 6-3. And Neil has a lot of blots to deal with. Looks like he's going to safety that with the 6. And with the 3, he can safety the back one, but he'll be leaving a double shot. If he safeties 9-6, he'll only have a single direct shot on that checker. So Greg needs a 4 to hit. He does not. He rolls a 6-1. Looking to run. That does break some contact. I think he's behind in the race. So I would have stayed back. 5-2. Neil can make his 11 point safely. Now he just needs to clear his midpoint. 3-1 for Greg. Comes down with the 3. Probably unstack. There you go. Finally unstacking that 6 point. Improving the distribution. 5-4. Is he going to make a run for it now while he has a stronger board? That's what he does. Now Greg's going to want a 2 to hit. That'll put him back in the game. And he does get it with a 4-2. So he hits with the 2 and the 4. Probably just continue. That's what he does. Now Neil needs an 8 or a 6-4. He rolls a 2-1. He's just going to come up to 21 or the 22. Now Greg has a lot of numbers to hit. 6-2 does not, but he can make the 4 point. I know he doesn't want to leave the blot there, but I think that's the best thing. Or he can make his 8 point, making the 10 point. Wow, that's a safe play, but it just allows Neil to kind of do whatever he wants and leave a blot there behind him. 6-3. So he's going to run. Gives Greg a double shot. 5-4, he does not hit. See, he's going to want to make his 2-point, give himself a 3-point board. Comes down with 13-8. And he does. And now 4-1. 13-8 is safe. So now Neil just wants to clear his 11-point, which is not as easy as it looks. Greg rolls a 3-1. I think he should slot his 4-point. That's the next one he wants to make. And there you go. Now he has all these builders to make his 4-point. And 5-2. Probably take one off his 8-point. And 8-3. And you don't really want to go 6-4. So maybe just 3-1. That's what he does. Double 4 for Greg. The back checkers are stuck. So let's see what he's going to do. I think he should make the 4-point and then slot his 3 points. Bring one down. So he's played 2 of them so far. He has 2 more. I would play 13-9 and there 7-3. That brings a checker in. Four 3 for Neil. Gonna bring the 8-5 and slot the other point. Nice distribution of spares, keeping his flexibility intact. And now 3-2. He can make his 3-point and slot a 7-point, but he does it from 6-3, so he can't slot a 7-point. You really want to slot the next point in your prime if you can. Greg's going to need a hit. He's well behind in the race. Now with the 4-1, he wants to keep a spare on his 8-point in case he rolls a bad 6. So that's the 4, and then he's going to shift. That allows him to cover with 5s or 2s on the next roll. Double 6s are the only roll that leaves a shot next for Neil. So 3-2, he can come in perfectly to a 6-point with 11-6. That's the best for the race. Now Neil rolls a 3-2. So is he going to cover and just shift? Looks like that's what he's going to do. Makes his 5-point board. Five, 4. Makes his ace point. Five, 1. So he'll play 6-1 and just shift with the 4-3 for the 1. Now Greg rolls a 6-5. Decent racing number. Might have put him ahead in the race. Double 5. That's a good roll for Greg. 2, 3, 4. Now it looks like Greg is ahead in the race. 6-3 brings in 2 checkers to his 5-point. 4-3 bears off a checker from the bar point. 54 pips for Neil. 6-1. 50 pips for Greg. 6-1 takes 2 checkers off. 47 pips. 6-3 takes 2 checkers off. 4-1, Greg's able to take 2 checkers off. Not sure what he was looking at. Five, three. Neil takes off two checkers. 4-1. That's a miss. He gets the bear off with the 4, and he plays 5-4, so 5 off. Neil rolls a 5-1, bears off two checkers, has 7 checkers left. Greg has 9, takes off 2. Now they both have 7 checkers left. Neil rolls a 5-4. That's a good roll for him. Greg rolls a 4-3, takes off 2 checkers, but still behind in the race now. Neil's a favorite. 3-1, not a good roll for Neil. Greg can catch up with something good. No, 2-1. Very bad roll. So he's going to bear off a checker, and he's going to look for double 5s. Neil rolls a 6-4. So Greg's going to need a double. That's actually good because now double 3s work for him, as long as Neil rolls an ace. Shaking his dice, shaking his dice. And he doesn't. That's gin. Neil wins. Congratulations to Neil. And now we're going to look at some of the positions. All right. So this is the first position. This should be reversed. It should say Neil's at the bottom. Greg is at the top. However, Neil was on rule. This was a double and a take. Now, this was the first game of the match. If you look at this, both sides have a 3-point board. It's 0-0 to 7, 3-point board. Greg's board is better because he has the 2 and 4, whereas Neil has the 1 and 3 deeper points. So he lacks as much priming value as Greg has. But Greg is on the bar, so Neil has the initiative. He can hit with 6s, 4s, 2s, a lot of good numbers. If he is able to hit a second checker on the bar and put 2 on the bar and Greg dances, he'll have lost his market. Turns out to be a double, but a very easy take, which Greg did. All right, the next one is another one. This is the next game after Neil won the gammon in the first game, so he's ahead 4-0 to 7. And Greg was playing the black checkers. He was on roll here, and he did double. Neil passed. It turns out to be too good to double. Now here he's looking for a gammon. You can see he can hit with 8s, but not 5-3. So 6-2, double 4, and double 2. Double 4 is very strong because he can hit and make his 4-point. There are a lot of other rolls that he has to bring down a checker. If white dances again, white's going to be in trouble. So this one turned out to be too good, but he did double, and Neil correctly passed. Next one was the 6-3. So Greg had a 6-3 from here. This was the next game, so Neil was leading 4-1 or 3 away, 6 away. And this is what's called the butterfly anchor by Michihiro Kageyama. And I don't know if it's in the opening concepts or back checker strategy. Anyway, this one's called the butterfly anchor because it can metamorphose from a caterpillar to a pupa to a butterfly, and it stays an anchor here. And you really want to leave the anchor when you have something on your side. He does have something on his side. This is a nice anchor to have because it does block certain things. It's not obviously as good as the 20-point anchor, the golden anchor, but you can escape with 6-3 and 5-4 perfectly. Also rolls like 6-5, Of course, double 6 and double 4 will escape, and even double 2s will allow you to advance the anchor. So here was an opportunity for him to escape. He's down 8 pips in the race before the roll, so he would be up 1 after. The only other option was 13 to 4. That would have been a small error, so Greg made the right choice. Very good. Next one. This was Black is on roll. Later on in that same game, trailing 1 to 4 or 6 away, 3 away on roll. Now, Greg has a chance to hit this one, hit this blot with a 2, or he can hit this one, but the numbers he has to hit with this are duplicated here. So he can only hit with a 6-2 or a double 4 and double 2, but 6-2 and double 2 are duplicated. So his only other number is double 4. So that's 13 numbers to hit. He is ahead by 13 pips in the race. He's behind in the score, and he has a pretty good front structure. Turns out to be a small double, but an easy take. And I believe Neil took this one really quickly, but this is a good find. It's pretty hard to find doubles like this. For money, this may not have been a double, but given the score, it is a correct double. You see his winning chances are only 61%. Usually it needs to be a little bit higher for money, but given the score, that makes a difference. Right, and then the next position is the 6-1. Neil had a 6-1 from the bar in that same game, leading 4-1 or 3 away, 6 away. So he's forced to come in with the ace, and what he did was come down 13-7. Turns out that 11 to 5 was better. It does duplicate a lot of the 6s. So when he has a checker here, he can make his bar point with a 6-1, 6-2, or 6-3, or he can make his 3-point with a 6-1, 6-3, or 6-5. And the 5-1 to make his 3-point is also duplicated to hit here. So there is a lot of duplication, but it's a little unnecessary. It's just giving him more chances to get back into it. It turned out to be correct to just play 11 to 5, but he did come down, and then he was able to hit back with a 6-4 and cruise on to a 2-point win, getting himself to the Crawford game. Next position is the double 3. This is the one I was thinking about for Greg. He had a double 3 from the bar. This was the next game, the Crawford game. Neil was ahead 6-1 Crawford, so 1 away, 6 away. Greg was 6 away, 1 away Crawford, and he has a double 3 from the bar, so should come in. Obviously that's forced, and then making the 5-point and slotting the 3-point was best. It was about tied with making the 3-point and slotting the 5-point, leaving a nicer distribution, but coming up is not necessary. Down 40 pips in the race, you really want to stay back and keep contact. And you're basically slotting the next point white wants to make. So if white is able to make his 5-point, it would be point on head, which is even stronger. And the last one was a 6-2 for Black. And this was in that same game. I believe what he did was he played 12 to 8 and 8 to 2. It was completely safe, but you know, in these games when it's a Crawford, losing a gammon doesn't mean anything. So you don't have to worry about getting hit and possibly getting gammon. The best play was to just make the 4-point with 10-4, 6-4. It does make the next point he wants to make and unstacks this extra checker. Does leave a direct 5, but you know, at these scores, it doesn't matter. If Neil doesn't roll a 5, he would have had a chance to attack. So in this case, 10-4, 6-4. So